We're here to talk about the richest guy today, Elon Musk. Yeah, that guy over there. You know the guy over there? Yeah. Hey, he's not just about rockets and electric cars. Oh, no. The guy's a little bit busy creating daily routines that feel the madness of craziness. Today, we're going to break down Musk's routine on mornings. Oh, yeah, baby. It's the morning. Get your ass out of bed. Mornings in the lab. Welcome to Mornings in the Lab, where excuse
when something negative comes up.
Building muscle improves blood flow.
Nobody is expecting, John.
If your lady's saying that, you're doing.
Being as a super
be entertained by fun over here.
How have I slept? Has my sleep been good? Is that...
Baby, let's go. I'm Keith Bilous. You know what we're here all about this morning. We're here to transform your morning, get your ass out of bed, push some limits, and baby, let's level up. Yeah. Oh yeah, we don't play safe here in the lab. We create content makes you listen, it might make you feel uncomfortable. If you are, you're in the right place. And hey, listen, if you got those children, you better move them out of the room. We might drop some F-bombs for them, or you might just have to drop some money in the fine book. And today we're here to talk about Elon Musk, the guy who's got a few things going on in his life. We're here to talk about his morning routine and whether his approach might actually make sense for you, or if it's just Musk being Musk. You know, the guy named Musk. Well, listen, we're also joined by Jacob Hong for Center Stage at a deep dive to talk about career transformation and resilience. And if you're all in on elevating your game, I remind you to subscribe to the channel, like the channel, tell all your friends you just found the greatest morning show on the planet to help you get your ass out of bed. We are here weekday mornings, 8 o'clock Eastern time. Myself, Christina Flynn over there, John Anderson over there, and producer Jimmy just over there. Let's get into it, nation. Jimmy, let's move the attention over here. Hey, I'm good with the hands this morning. We got Flynn in black on black. She's got the mute button on because we've been having some side conversations before the show came on. We got Johnny in the black on black with American as fuck, I think, and he's got the old cigar in the mouth. What's shaking, Anderson?
What's happening? I got my microphone over here. I'm good, bro. I'm good.
Yeah, I feel I can sense you have different energy today, John Anderson.
Yeah, I made a switch in my mornings, and so I've actually it was inspired by our guest. I'm having a brain fart in his name, doing this, putting down the serious meditation.
Oh, Marcus Newcomb calling. Marcus Newcomb, you're influencing Johnny Anderson.
Yeah, so I basically I changed up my morning so I could have a little more time. And for sitting quietly, sitting in silence, as I call it, and so it was good. It was really good. And funny enough, I didn't realize that I was ready to go into a longer timeline. It was actually pretty fucking easy.
Really? So I know
it's wild.
This is fascinating to me, Flinner, because I know Anderson starts his day with jumping on the rebounder, gets down and counts his morning. And I love that you're counting the morning in. So when you sat down this morning with intention, I know we love that word, Anderson. You sat down with intention. Was it like, okay, I'm sitting down for 30, 20? Did you change your counting? Like, share with me and Christina how you went about intentionally changing your morning.
Well, I mean, I guess it came down to that I've known the more I do it, the more value I get from it. Yeah. So I know that I need to be putting more time into it, but sometimes, you just keep doing what you're doing because if it's not broken, why try to fix it?
Yes.
And the inspiration from Marcus, I thought, I'm going to switch a few things up, give myself an extra 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I opened up a larger timeline.
Yeah.
And so when I basically I got in there, it's my personality, because in everything I've done, I put in the work when nobody's looking, and then when I burst onto a scene, it's like, where did this guy come from?
Yes, right now.
And so I was basically I was putting in my 5-ish minutes every day, and I guess I could say I was much better at it than I thought I was.
Oh yeah,
Like when I finally competed for the first time, I was like, fuck. I'm gonna be an international player here pretty quick.
Isn't that awesome when that awareness? Good morning, Al. I see you there in the comments. I invite you to subscribe to the channel. Mornings in the Lab with Keith and friends. Over there is Flynn. Over there is Anderson. In the back there is producer Jimmy. Isn't it really cool when that light bulb goes on, Johnny, when you're like, you have this awareness moment? Christine and I just had it before the show here. I was like, oh, I'm actually kind of smart.
Confidence.
It is a confidence thing, eh?
Confidence. We were saying, Johnny, when did you realize as a young person that you were smart? I didn't realize I was smart until I was about 28 because I grew up a dumb kid. I grew up with like the supports and the psychiatrists and the being pulled out of the class to get help with speech impediments and all that stuff. So I didn't know.
Yeah, and it was funny. I wouldn't categorize myself like Terry gets pissed all the time when I say I was just dumb enough to believe I could do it. She says, "You're not dumb. It's okay. Call it what you will."
So hold on, Johnny. I don't disagree with Terry. I'm gonna stand next to Terry. Yeah, and
it's more of a figure of speech. I don't. It's not really saying yes. I was dumb, but it was just like, hey, I didn't fucking get it. I was in my world, I was kicking ass just to keep my fucking lips above water. I was in fast moving current for where I was in my life. And so I felt like I was always behind the 8 ball. So when I say I was dumb enough, it was probably my own perception that I was working twice as hard just to keep up.
That's what it is, Flinner, because what Johnny's saying, he makes himself relatable. Because there's another guy out there, there's another guy like John or like myself, yourself, who's feeling the way he's feeling. And they're using that term of calling them.
Oh, no. There he is. Okay, beautiful. You froze, brother. Say it again.
I said Anderson's not having the success he's had in his life if he's not got a few sharp tacks up on the head.
Well, the thing about it is I actually give the credit to most of my success to a skill I developed from having a hard time keeping up, which was problem solving. Yes. Because I can solve fucking problems. I can figure out, okay, I need to get I'm at point A, I need to get to point B. How do I get there? The last thing I'm going to like, perfect example, when Tara and I are brainstorming, she goes to the internet for ideas. I don't want to be polluted with the internet because that shit is going to take me out of the way I figure stuff out, which is not knowing. And then that's the way I've always done it.
John goes to the fax machine. He goes to the fax machine and dials out a number and hopes to see what comes.
Wait, I got somebody on the other end of this can.
And then he stands in the fax machine and waits for the paper to spit out. He's like, "Oh, Terry, I've learned the answer to 1 + 1."
He's like, "There's my carrier pigeon. How you doing, buddy?"
So I guess the whole thing of like coming back to this meditation, just like everything else, is that I'm a repper. I just get my reps in. And then through the consistency of getting my reps in, I actually get better faster than I think. I'm not registered. I still at 52, it happened again. Like, holy shit, I was really leaving some fucking progress on the table because I didn't register how good I've gotten because I've been doing fucking 5 minutes a day. Keep in mind, when I started off, a minute was like, Jesus Christ, my brain could give me, oh, you got to do this. Oh, you got to do that. Shut the fuck up and sit down for 60 seconds, please.
Please. When did you realize, Johnny, though, you said you're a repper, like I'm only recently coming into like what works for me. When did you realize, oh, I just need to get the reps in? Because when I was a young kid, when I broke the mold, I was like, oh shit, if I just work harder and longer than everyone else, I'm good. But then when I got older, I was like, that doesn't work anymore for saying to my wife, deuces, I got to go away for 48 hours to catch up on all my shit. So what did that look like for you?
Well, I think I discovered it when I realized, holy shit, the second time I do something, look how much better it got. And then the third, whoa, it's getting better again. And so I realized that me doing repetition actually helps me. For me personally, it helps me see things very clear. And then I started to realize that back in those days, I didn't understand it. But if I was a kid now, they'd go, oh, yeah, you got OCD because repeating shit. I mean, I can go in these fucking loops and I'm happy as hell. That's why weightlifting has always been so fucking great for me. Repeating the same process over and over, that's fucking home for me.
Well, Flynn, when I met Anderson, he was on the show at one time and we talked after the show and he was feeling me out. He's like, I kind of enjoyed the shows live and I was wondering how we might be able to do something together. And then it took a number of minutes in, Flynn, before he says to me, he says, Keith, I really operate the best when I just repeat something repeatedly over and over and over. Because we first talked about, Johnny, you jumping and doing a segment every now and then. And you said to me, I work best when I lock something in my calendar and do it repeatedly. And you know what, Flynn, is fascinating because we talked about yesterday, you and I were talking about planning and how we plan our days. And I told you how I plan my day and it just happens. And you're like, you write shit down, you have to look, and it's like a task. Like this morning, I just got up, got out of bed, had coffee, went for a run. Like nothing was written down per se, right? But it's just getting in.
You got there though, right?
Yeah,
like you don't have to write it down anymore because you've got what that looks like. For me, I'm still figuring that out. And I need so much flexibility. So if I let my day control me, my brain will just go. And at the end of the day, I'm going, well, I didn't fucking get done anything I needed to get done.
Yeah.
And now I'm staying up till 2 a.m. because I actually need to get stuff done. So I can't trust it's not there yet. It's not locked in. I can't trust that it's going to get me on my route. Whereas for me, looking at you two, you've taken the work that we always talk about, which is just like habit stacking, get there, and then you don't have to think. You just
but check this out. I'm kind of in the middle. I agree with you. I could probably go on autopilot without writing shit down, but every morning, even though I'm writing the same fucking shit over and over and over, you know, it's the top of my book. You could look back for fucking weeks and weeks and weeks and sometimes months, and it doesn't change. Of course, if it changes, it'll just, you'll see that little change in what I'm writing. But I've been writing something in my mornings forever, and if I write it down in my mind, it's real. Now, if I don't write it down, I'll probably still get it done. But I'm leaving a crack in the door, which I don't like cracked doors. I like the door fucking wide open or slam the motherfucking shut.
Oh, yeah, I like that. All right, let's keep it going, guys. Listen, we're here to today talk about Elon Musk and his morning routine. Flynn, Johnny, the guy, I sometimes wonder where he sleeps, how much he sleeps, when does he sleep, because the guy's a little bit busy. But listen, and he might just orchestrate a little bit of chaos along the way. Musk's routine is all about efficiency and tackling the biggest challenges and head on. You know, the guy comes from the first principles approach. And today we're going to look at why Elon structures his mornings around problem solving. And I love that whole idea. I know Rich is a big problem solver and so forth. And we're going to talk about how Elon manages to balance multiple ventures, just a couple little ventures, you know, the Tony Stark of our lifetime, while maintaining productivity. Musk's mornings are not about easing in. No way, baby. They're about diving straight into the chaos. For example, he starts his first 30 minutes checking emails, where most of us are like, no, I don't want to do emails first. He's like, no, I'm doing emails right now. It's a strategy that works for him, but does it work for everyone? And I think that's what we're going to lean into today. And we were talking about a little bit a few minutes ago, is how you start your morning might be how that person starts the morning, or not be how that person starts the morning. And Johnny himself taking a page out of our guest Marcus Newcomb and starting his morning a little bit differently. When you guys hear of Musk, Flynn, first to you, when you hear of Musk, doesn't your head just spin wondering what his morning's like?
Well, not anymore, because I'm the producer of this show and I've done a lot of research now. However, yeah, I would have thought, I'll be honest, what I came up with versus what I thought are two very different things. I think, if I'm going to guess, Musk, he doesn't like the routine. He doesn't like he fights it. He doesn't like to work out. He doesn't like to eat breakfast. He doesn't like to do the things that we all know you should do.
Yes.
And so he's this like kind of really interesting example of, well, this is the richest, likely one of the smartest people in the entire world, and he's not doing it. But the point there is not that you shouldn't do it then because fucking Elon Musk isn't doing it, but rather he's found his groove. He gets, like, for me, if I look at my phone first thing in the morning and I check out emails, stressed, micro stressor, and I can't do anything about it. Whereas he's like, fuck it, 30 minutes in, let's go. I got problems to solve.
Well, here's the thing I think we got to look at. We got to put Musk in the category. He's a genius.
Yes.
Right. So, but you look at, say, you know, Dr. Dre, he's a musical genius. These guys do so. They go about what they do very, very different. You can't get in the way of a genius. You just have to let him do what he does, because he's found a way to be so highly productive in his niche that you'd be silly to fucking think that you could take a tactic from, you know, someone who is successful but not a genius. What we do would just get in their way.
Well, and that's why nobody gets in my way. Well, that's why nobody gets in my way, because I'm a genius over here on Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends. I'm the genius amongst the three. Oh yeah, just a humble.
You're the genius of mastering your domain.
Oh, I'm the genius of mastering my domain, and you're the genius of life expectancy work with John Anderson.
I got actually today is afternoon is go take the dirt bikes out and then work on some life expectancy. That's the afternoon.
Nation.
All right, let's get into it. We see you, Jacob. Jacob, unmute when you get a chance. Let's go.
Life expectancy work, the only place on the planet where we encourage you men to wake over and put the morning wood into action. Right, Johnny? Yes.
You got to keep humping, baby. Keep humping.
Even when it's not hump day. All right, the accountability check-in, Jimmy. Listen, Elon, he doesn't just ease into his mornings, baby. No. He faces complexity head on. Yeah, he attacks the day with a mindset of efficiency. The way you handle those first few moments upon waking can set the tone for everything that follows. You heard Flynn. She sees those emails first thing. She's like, oh my God, I'm all stressed out. It's a true story. Listen, we're not here for easy mornings. We're here for impactful mornings. That's what we do here in the lab. Today, think about the biggest challenge you're facing. I asked you about it yesterday. What if you tackle that challenge head on? What's going to happen? Imagine what happens. Imagine the momentum you could feel the moment you crushed a daunting task first thing in the morning. Hey, what do you think? Don't shy away. Lean into it. Meet it head on and watch how it transforms not just your day, nation. Oh, no, baby. You want some energy? It's going to transform your mindset. It's time for bold, decisive actions that demand progress. All right, let's get out of here, boys and girls. Let's keep the show rolling. We have somebody coming up here, Jacob Hong. I'm going to blast out this here, Jimmy. And we're going to do this here, and we're going to introduce this here. I'm still figuring out the buttons with my new button setup here.
Buttons. Jacob,
buttons.
You're on mute on both streams as well. So
while I do this, and I'm going to get, and then the mouse doesn't decide to work, Jimmy. There we go. Yeah, I
haven't used a mouse in years. I'm
good. I'm using a trackpad actually this morning. I'm totally using a trackpad this morning. But
Jacob, are you questioning your life decisions right now? Are you wondering why you actually came here this morning?
Good morning, guys. No, this is man. I'm pumped to be here, and you guys are awesome. Holy cow!
What's shaking, Jacob? So I have something to put on the screen here, but it just ain't showing up here at the moment. And I'm going to do that if you just bear with me for a second here, because we are on live fun radio here.
Where are you coming from today, Jacob? Where are you based?
So I'm based in Chicago, Chicago suburbs. So I'm actually in the office I working for a landscape company. I get in pretty early, and so here bright and early, and that's how it goes for us these days.
Nicely done. Well, listen, let's bring Jacob in on the screen here, guys. We got him. I know he's on the screen right now, but let's bring Jacob Hong, and he's a growth mindset, people-centric human being. Let's pull this up on screen here. Boom. Flynn, I'm still working the progress out with we introduce our guests with stuff here, but that's all good and dandy here.
We'll get there.
Hey, Flynn, Anderson, Jacob could be on a boring podcast right now. They sit and bore and they talk in monotonous voice and they just talk like this.
Which have their value, but aren't our thing.
Excuse me? To who? Anyways, we're here with Jacob Hong this morning. We are talking about from crew member to SVP, a leadership journey. We're going to get into center stage with Jacob. What's important to him? Family first, people's happiness, understanding. What's his professional role? He's an observer and a listener, and he's a policy recommender. He's got some career advancement strategy, envision the company's future, identify those growth opportunities, and learn from superiors. And his success factors are process innovation, proactive approach, and team development. He's got the role of luck, and if you look at Jacob, he's got some key takeaways. Ask some right questions, take initiative. We are inviting our friend Jacob to the lab. There you go. It took me a few minutes to get there, my friend, but I did it, and I'm getting better at it. How are you, pal? Welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thanks for having me, man. That's the best introduction I think I've ever received in my life.
Well, yeah, you're not on a boring podcast now. You're on an entertaining, fun morning show that happens all over the planet, including Chicago.
There we go. Here we are. Happy to be
here. There you go. So listen, Jacob, the first question we like to ask everybody, Jimmy, Felix, cue the post-show cut here. Jacob, the most important question we like to ask every human being on the planet. How do you start your day? What is your morning routine?
Honestly, I think my day starts the night before.
Oh, yes.
That's ultimately, I think, how I'm able to get moving first thing in the morning is if I know what's coming the next day, then it's so much easier to wake up. It's so much easier to get going. It's so much easier as first thing I get into the office, and it's just get going. Don't waste time. And that's by far the number one thing for me. I notice it when I don't do it, and it just cripples my day. So starting the night before is probably the biggest thing for me.
Oh, I like that. Good morning, Fontana. I see you in the comments, brother. I see you there. Jacob, when did you decide the night before was the key to your morning? How did you learn that? I think you probably caught the early part of the show here. We were talking ourselves about how our mornings start. Like, when did you learn that the evening was actually the key to unlocking the morning? Because John and I are still figuring it out, and we're on the other side of the fence.
There are some weeks where I'm still trying to learn it. There's weeks where it goes really well. There's weeks where it doesn't go well, and but probably 2017, I was just out of college 2 years at that point, and it was by far the most stressful year of my life.
Yeah.
And it just took some time to figure out that, hey, it's really starting the night before. That really pushes me for that next day. So 2017, when I was stressed and I couldn't figure it out, that's where it started.
Johnny?
Yeah, I mean, that the night before, that started for me when I was probably, before 10 years old. Largely because, for me to have a fairly good morning and a good run at the day, my mom wanted me to lay out my clothes, all the shit. So I just woke up and I just kind of fell into my day. If I had to wake up and make too many decisions, it put me in kind of a tougher spot. So, and she was she introduced it to me and I gravitated to it real quick. So she didn't really have to push me to do it. I was like, that just feels good to me.
Yeah.
Jacob, what was going on in 2017?
Yeah.
That made you that stress, that made you realize you needed to do something different. Because I know you're a dad now, you got lots going on. And like you said, you kind of got to be flexible. What was happening in 2017 that was kind of like the impetus to this? Because I know your journey's been a really unique one.
Yeah, I think the first year of my career, it was stressful, but they didn't load me up significantly from a work standpoint. But once I had a year or two under my belt, the amount of responsibility that I was taking on, it wasn't different. It was just more. So I had, double the amount of clients that I was used to. I was getting into the office at 4 a.m. and going home at 7 p.m. And it just, it was this rat race of I was starting to figure it out, but I still didn't quite understand it all. And so being able to plan it out the night before, it significantly reduced the amount of time I had to spend at the office because I knew step 1 was this, step 2 was this, and step 27 was X, Y, and Z. And so that's really what led me to pick up the speed.
When people tend to get, they get real busy in life, what you just described, it's almost like you were running a race and you just didn't have enough wind to carry the pace that you had set for yourself. And people say, I don't have time to, pre-plan. I don't have time to do this, but this is a perfect example, a perfect story about how you went from being, basically being stressed out from 4 a.m. to 7 p.m., putting a little bit of time in to the night before, which actually made the pace now became manageable because you had kind of premeditated what was going on. So for those of you listening and thinking, I'm just too busy. I'm already too busy. Well, you got to just be more intentional about how you go about your day. And when you do a little forecasting, a little pre-planning, it's a fucking game changer.
Yeah. And then Jacob, so you decided that your evening before needs to set the tone for the next morning. So how does the morning all start? Johnny gets out of bed, crushes his water, gets on the rebounder.
Landscaping's early. What time are we talking about here?
What are you doing first thing in the morning? You getting some push-ups in? You going in the cold bath? Like, what is your routine to get your ass in gear, Jacob?
Man, it's so early that I just roll out of bed and get to work. That's why it has to start for me the night before because there's not enough time. I don't go to bed early enough to wake up early enough for our morning. Yeah. So our crews, they roll out of the office at 5 a.m. So I'm usually here right around the time they roll out or a little bit after they roll out just to make sure there's no big issues. But it's an early morning. So
then can I make an assumption, Jacob, that because you're in the landscaping industry and I know you're on the business side of it, so I don't know if you're out there digging many ditches, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm thinking you're probably doing more of the head work instead of the arm work. What are you doing to keep the physical specimen active on a daily basis?
Metabolism.
No,
it's a constant battle that I deal with. I go through spurts. Sometimes I'm able to get some good workouts in. Other times, I'm standing at my desk and doing simple things. But that's definitely an area where the physical acumen could catch up to the amount of time I spend sitting. So
awesome. Yeah, and you can, when you're sitting at a desk, you can actually make, like, every morning when we do this, I don't know if you guys see me rock. Well, it's because I'm putting a different fucking leg up onto a chair under the table. I'm stretching one hamstring this whole fucking time. Every segment, I switch legs. Sometimes I'll switch early, but I use this time that we're on this show to stretch my hamstring.
Johnny, I'm into that.
Yeah, literally. Awesome. And anytime you're sitting in one place for a while, it's because if you can't work out, you're too busy. Call it. I hate the word can't, but that's what you're telling yourself. You can still, by working on flexibility, it will actually create better quality of life, because when you're sitting still and you're not working out, your muscles are getting tight. And when your muscles get too tight, you just feel like it's like a low grade pain all the time.
I've never met a more intentional human being in my entire life.
I was going to say, we need to do an entire segment, Keith, on what are like this 7 to 10 stretches you can do literally at your desk. I want the plan now, because I'm like, well, I can only do hamstrings for so long, but then I don't know what to do, Johnny. So you got to tell me what to do.
Well, just the intentionality of Johnny. So, Jacob, you got to pay attention to what Johnny says in between the lines. Like, in a couple minutes, John's going to make way over here. He's going to do something. The guy just lives a life of super intention, man, which is just, I love it. I absolutely love it. Jacob, let's continue the conversation with you before we continue into deep dive. Jacob, let's talk a little bit about your career from where you started to becoming an SVP, John, not in 2 years or 3 years, not 20 years, 9 years. Senior Vice President, 9 years, accelerated journey. Give us some context to that journey, Jacob.
Yeah, guys, it's been a blast. Never in my wildest dreams, I talked to my wife, like, when I decided to go into the landscape industry, never did we think we would end up where we're at. Really? It's been so much fun. And when you think of the landscape industry, you think of mowing lawns. And if you're not in it, that's kind of all you think about. And in reality, there's so much more to the landscape industry.
Brother, let me just interject. I fucking love landscape. Literally, like the house when we bought this place and we remodeled it, I had the landscape crew. I mean, we put in fucking 50 palm trees, big fucking boulders. I mean, we want the surrounding area to just seem like it's just as spectacular outside the house than it is inside the house.
Yeah, I love to hear that. It's fantastic. So
yeah, we always got some sort of water, a waterfall. Obviously, we live in a lake, so I got to be close to water. But I mean, having a water feature, we have a hot tub that spills into a pool, so you got the sound of the water. You've got different types of colors and shit. It's landscaping is something it's an art. When you get a good landscaper, I mean, they can do some like amazing shit. You're looking around going, where the fuck am I?
Jacob, why landscape?
Amazing transformation.
What made you be interested in that, or what's the opportunity that came your way that said, okay, this is the route?
Yeah, so if you ask a lot of landscapers how they got started in the industry, it all starts when they're kids, right? And they start mowing people's yards, and then they just find out the people that stick with it, a lot of them, they just find out they love being outside, and they can't imagine a job, a 9 to 5 that just sits in the office all day. And so that's ultimately what got me interested. And then the people that I surrounded myself with, the people in this industry are just phenomenal people. The amount of help that they provide and the direction they give. And so it's been this slow build, but it's been a blast and a super fun ride.
Do you enjoy the really, really, like when I say big, more intricate jobs? I mean, it's something that the creative side is that, do you really get into the creative? That's what I love. It's the creative part of it. I like to, in my mind, I want to create a vision. Then I meet with the landscaper. We have this conversation and we just start piecing it together like Legos. Is that part of what attracts you to it as well?
Yes, it's funny you say that. So that's what initially attracts most people to the landscape industry. Like, especially the ones that start on the college side. 95% of the people that start there, they're like, I'm going to be this designer. I'm going to build these mega mansions and do all this stuff. And then you start to realize there's all these different other avenues. And so the direction that I actually went is more on the people side, the account management, maintenance, enhancement side of things. So how are we efficient? How do we move quickly? And how do we manage a client that needs our help? So while yes, I do love, the creative side of things, a lot of my day now is really, client-based, efficiency-based on the maintenance side of things. So I started off saying, all you think about landscaping is mowing lawns. Well, now that's really what I spend all my time thinking about is mowing lawns.
Hey, but real quick, one more thing on this. Like I'm using myself and my landscaper as a perfect example, right? I mean, we did the initial job. It's like we're always continually to work on something. We're always tweaking it and twisting it. And this guy's like my buddy. I can see him out and about, and I'm giving him a hug. Yeah,
it's amazing how fantastic relationships you build with this, because you're really helping people's dreams come true. Right.
Yeah, and you're sharing something creative. You're creating something with someone, Yeah.
Well, and it's a living creativity, John and Jacob, because you're taking a landscape, you're taking an outdoor space, and like I know when I landscape my backyard, I said to the guy at the time, I said, I want you to think of this as a blank canvas, and we turned it into a park. And then what does a park do? It grows, it matures, it just and legacies are built inside of a park, right? So when you look out of you look at that tree you planted that was like this, you look at it 20 years later, like, yeah, I remember when I planted it. So in many ways, Jacob, you're building legacies for families, right? That's what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. So, it's we're building something that's going to last for however long they live in that house. Absolutely.
That's it. Hey, you're hanging out with Keith, John, Marty, and Jacob Hong, our guest here. And right now, we like to do these kind of things so John can get up and go to the bathroom. We got C. Marty Fit Tip doing some work. So I'm going to do the C. Marty Fit Tip today. Flynn, surprising you. Yeah, true story. Jacob, we like to break the show up because Anderson, well, he's old. And he's got to get up to stretch the other ass cheeks so we can go over there and do the work that has to happen in the bathroom. So just ignore Johnny. He's going to go landscape his bathroom right now. All right, Nation. What would Marty say right now? Marty would say, if you think you're too busy to work out, he would say, fuck that. That's what he'd say. He'd say, think again. Flynn, I got to send this to Marty later. And he'd say, the truth is, you don't need a full 30-minute block to make progress. Jimmy, he wouldn't say that. No, he'd say you can time stack your workout like you stack habits. Yeah, you can weave fitness into your day without skipping a beat. Here's how you can do it, and here's what Marty would say. Take those 10 minutes in the morning, do some push-ups, do some squats or planks to wake your body up. I've seen Marty do it. Oh, hey, drops down and says push up, push up, push up. And then for lunch, go for a walk, 10 minutes. I know you can find 10 minutes today. Evening, grab those resistance bands, kettlebell swings, do some frog, do some yoga, do some pigeon. Just get in front of the TV. If you're in front of the TV, do some stretching. That's the full body workout in the time it takes to scroll LinkedIn or Instagram, whatever platform you're on. Listen, results don't require you got 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there you're going to waste. Consistently take that effort and put it into productivity. When you really want results, you'll do whatever it takes. Trust me. Right, Flynn? You'll do whatever it takes. Jimmy, Flynn Anderson, Jacob, that's the fitness tip for today. There you go. We're getting after it here. We're getting after it. Morning.
Proud of you, bud. Proud of you. You did Marty proud.
I know I did Marty proud. Listen, we're hanging out with Keith, Jacob, John Anderson, Christina Flynn, and producer Jimmy here. Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends. The only live show you'll find on LinkedIn, YouTube, every other platform around. We are hanging out with Jacob Hong here, landscaper extraordinaire. Awesome career. We celebrated him in the Creator Spotlight a long time ago. Jacob, you have a wife and you're a dad. Awesome. You've taken this wild journey from crew member to SVP in just 9 years. Talk about the biggest challenges evolving personally as your career advanced rapidly. Because, man, you're putting time into your relationships. You're putting time into dad. There's some guy listening right now who's struggling with what you went through. How have those big changes in your life affected and or changed your approach today? And how did you adjust over those 9 years, Jacob?
Yeah, that's a deep question. That's a great
question. I know,
question.
it's the first thing in the morning Friday question, brother.
Yeah, I think recognizing when I disagree initially with something has been life-changing for me. So when my wife says, hey, why is this happening? And I'm like, my initial instinct is like, what are you talking about? That is like, I'm in the right here. Like, you're crazy. Like, for me to recognize, hold on, I disagree with something. Why am I disagreeing with it?
Yeah.
And being able to understand her perspective, that's probably been like the number one thing that's changed in my life that has propelled me just to be more understanding and to be able to be a better leader in general.
Dude, that's very kind of you to share that vulnerability. Because I know it's hard for men to be vulnerable, but for you to recognize that, yeah, I had to kind of pause and recognize that I had to slow down, create a gap, and create awareness. I had this conversation with my daughter last night, and John's taught me. I'm going to call Johnny. He's taught me, and I do this intentionally every single day. Johnny, you know what I'm going to say? I respond instead of react. Jacob, I had a bad habit of reacting, and I just slow down and I think. Take some time. Even Maurice, my business partner, is like, holy fuck, man, you're different. I'm like, yeah, I'm really working hard. You can teach an old dog new tricks.
Well, you know, the crazy thing about it, when you stop reacting, you just become a fucking happier person.
Holy smokes.
You know what I mean? The reaction is like, you know, when you're reacting, it's all a good possibility there's going to be some negativity, that shit. When you respond,
you're giving the other person the energy.
Yeah, when you respond, you're, it's at that point, it's most cases, it's some sort of a positive thing. And what a reaction in most cases is, I hate to say it all the time, because sometimes people have learned to react in a positive way, but in most cases, we react negatively.
Yes.
To me, it's the difference between internal and external. A response happens internally first. It's saying, all right, I'm having a lot of feelings around this. What's up with those feelings? Where are they coming from? Why are they there?
Yes.
And then trying to respond with that information and that self-awareness. A reaction is just like, I'm not spending any time in here. I'm going out. And that has to be external. And there's energy that I'm pushing outwards. And chances are it's going to stay external, because whoever I've done that to or with is going to then respond back or react back to me.
Yes. And Jacob, I think in listening to you talk about your experience with your wife, it sounds exactly that's what Christina was saying, right? Is that you're hearing your wife speak to you and you probably found yourself reacting where you had to slow down to create a response. Am I correct with that? Because I've been there, brother.
Yeah, 100%. I think that responding versus reacting, I think about that probably every day, all day.
Yes.
When any comment is coming my way, it's like, hold on, let's respond to this. Let's take 2 minutes. When that email comes in that you're like, what in the world is going on? And it's just,
you're going to throw your laptop,
set back, and I need to take a 2-minute walk and recalibrate here and actually respond instead of react. So yeah, 100%.
And on that level, you could find these people, and no matter what you say, the first thing they're going to say back is no. Sometimes they'll even say, no, yeah. What? The first thing out of their phone, there was a guy in my gym years ago, great guy, loved him, but I was like, he was just one of these dudes. It was just he's walking around with a fucking storm cloud over his head. We live in California, for Christ's sake. But anyway, and I finally said, Ray, I said, do you realize no matter what someone says to you, myself included, the first word out of your mouth is going to be no. And he goes, no, it's not. I said, well, there you go. There you go. I said, what, do you realize this? No, I don't do that. And then it's like, how you doing today, Ray? No, I'm doing pretty good. I mean, it doesn't make a difference. And I finally kept pointing out, he literally just started fucking laughing and couldn't speak, because he didn't know how to speak without saying no first.
Yeah.
Even if he was agreeing with you. No, yeah, I agree. What?
Yeah, no kidding. Good morning, good time. I see you there in the comments. Good to have you there. Good time. Dude, I love you, man. You've been so committed to this show. Jacob, Good Time found us when we started the show a long time ago. Good Time gets up and goes for a walk every single day, puts the show on as his accountability partner. Huge fan of Good Time. I appreciate you big time, my friend. Good morning, good Raymond Walker. Good morning, Rick Clutie. Great stuff, Jacob. He's calling you out. Chris Voss, master negotiator, says getting a no can be good. Yes, of course. And Rick also puts up that our reaction and or response can be a result of your expectations. Lowering these can increase our peace and relations with other humans. True story.
That's a huge part of it.
Yes.
Your own expectations.
Yes.
I'm going to butcher it, but stress is the world not meeting your own expectations and you wishing it was.
Well, you know, it's funny you say that. Having this conversation with Brookie last night, she's going through some, girl growing up things, and I have a young little daughter. And I said to her, I said, when you're really kind to somebody, I said, here's a technique with a superpower. She goes, what's that, Keith? I go, if you're really kind to somebody, don't expect nothing in response. She's like, oh. I said, because when you don't expect nothing in response, you become even a bigger superhero because you're now like, oh, I expressed my kindness to you, Johnny, and I don't need anything back for you to make me feel good. That's a powerful thing when you can do that, frankly.
Well, it's when you tell someone you love them. Are you doing it for a response? You doing it just because, like, every morning I text my mom, my wife, and my 3 daughters. And, I told them when I started doing this, years ago, I said, look, don't think you have to respond. If you respond, great. This is not based with an expectation. This is just me telling you I'm thinking about you. I purposely do it long before they're awake, So it's just the idea that, hey, I'm going to send some love, and whether you respond or not, doesn't make a difference.
Yeah. We're hanging out with Jacob Hong here this morning. I see a Rick, week 14, Good Time. Johnny, Good Time needs to add some muscle now. We got to keep talking about muscle with Good Time here in the coming days and weeks. And Rick is totally agree as the holidays approach with family stress, commitment, spontaneity is refreshing. Drop the expectations and let it happen anyways. Jacob, there's many people in our audience right now listening, leaning into your words, maybe wanting to be a landscaper or wanting to do something, who can only dream. They're grinding it out. They're doing their thing. They can only dream about having the career advancement that you've seen. Give somebody the confidence right now that they can believe that it's possible. Because, one of the things we talk about often, and John's a big proponent of this, is us humans wake up often with limiting beliefs. I can't do that. I'll never do it. I'm going to fail. We like to pose the question, well, what if you succeeded? Now, in your journey, somewhere in your journey, you were believing that you were going to succeed. Give some guy the confidence right now that you're going, fuck, it's not possible, Jacob. I can't do it. You're like, yeah, you can actually. Jacob, give somebody right now something to hang on. What would you tell them?
Yeah, if there's anyone in this world that lacked confidence at a time to grow, it was me.
Oh.
I don't know why, but I've always lacked confidence from time to time. I go through these peaks and valleys of confidence. But one of the things and one of my beliefs is that you can and you will find the place that's right for you. And one of the ways that I feel like I've learned to do that is just a phrase that I like to use is look around the corner.
Nice.
See what's coming next. It might not be perfect.
Yeah.
But if you're projecting your future, if you're spending the time, someone mentioned taking some time earlier to see the big picture.
Yeah.
Step back. Being able to do that has changed my life. So, at least once a quarter, I'm writing down the org chart for 5 years in the future.
Oh, I love that, dude.
Putting myself where I want to be. I may be right of what that looks like. I may be completely wrong, but that small practice just once every 3 months allows me the time to reflect on what's coming next and how do I get there.
Yeah. Jacob, do you do like me when you do your future planning? And if you don't, I perhaps would encourage you to maybe shift your mindset this way. When I do future planning, I intentionally change words when I'm talking with teammates or in my head that I've already accomplished it. So if I'm looking at March 3rd of 2025 in my head, I'm going into a meeting with Christina, for example, saying, okay, Christina, it's March 3rd, 2025. What have we accomplished in the last 90 days? Instead of I think as humans and leaders, we typically work with our colleagues on what are we going to work towards. I like to go into a meeting and talk about what we've actually accomplished. Do you use that technique as well, Jacob?
I've used it in the past, but that's definitely something that I'm going to make sure is a part of my planning in the future.
Yeah. Excellent.
So in 90 days, I'll have done that. Yeah.
Awesome. So Christina, let's get Jacob back in 90 days and let's
100%.
More conversation. I find this really humorous, Johnny, because we found Jacob as a creator spotlight. We surprised Jacob, right, Christina? We found Jacob on LinkedIn. We saw the work he was doing, and we're like, hey, we got this morning show. We shine the old creator spotlight on Jacob. He gets up one morning, logs into LinkedIn, and is like, oh, these folks are celebrating me. What the hell's going on here? So, Jacob, I really want to say thanks for joining us today. How can people in Business Athlete Nation, LinkedIn Nation find you? And then the second question is, was this experience as horrible as you thought it was going into it when you got up this morning early to come join us today?
Yeah, so I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. So that's probably the easiest way to find me. But no, this has been fantastic. You guys are awesome. I've got a lot to think about. You've motivated me to even, double check my morning routine. No longer will metabolism be my answer for my exercise. So you guys are awesome. This has been fantastic.
We'll send you the links, Jacob. You're going to book it 90 days. 90 days. We'll send you the links. We'll get you back on. We did the same thing with a couple other guests. Corey Wegner is going to come back on in December and tell us how his journey is going. So we're here to be your accountability buddy.
Johnny, awesome. Jacob's like, they're going to ask me again in 90 days what I've done this morning to work out, and I haven't done anything yet. So, Johnny, yes, we've got somebody thinking about their future. Jacob, you're going to live longer. Or if there's one thing I got to offer you, brother, hey, you're a dad and you have a wife. Make sure you take care of your life expectancy work this weekend. You know that if we take care of our partners, they live longer. So I would invite you here in the lab. We invite our guests to most certainly uphold the responsibilities of life expectancy work with our partners, Jacob. All right.
He's saying sex, Jacob. He's saying sex in a weird way. That's what it means. Having sex with your partner apparently makes them live longer. True
story. Keith and Johnny's rules, man. Keith and Johnny believe that if we have sex with our partner, often they live longer. Right, Johnny?
Well, and if they figure out that it's not true, you had a lot of fun practicing.
Jacob, you had an awesome day, man. Jacob, I got a lot of props for you, man. I really appreciate you joining us today on the show. Thanks for getting up and starting your day with us. I know you're a busy dude. You got lots going on, and you could have chose to do something else, but instead you choose to hang out with us. So thank you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate being here.
Right on, brother.
Awesome.
See you later.
All right, Johnny Anderson's coming up with the lifestyle tip. Rick, I see you. Yes, it is our story. We are sticking to it. Lauren Terry, look out. You're up, Johnny.
The most powerful thing a human has access to is the brain. The brain is unbelievably powerful. And what I mean, if you control your thoughts, you're going to control your life. Now, you can control your thoughts in a good way or a bad way. The brain will control them in a bad way for you. But if you can actually reach down deep and understand and do what you've got to do, learn how to do it. It's different for everybody. How to control your thoughts. Keep your thoughts in a positive space. This is life-changing, game-changing shit. You, to a certain extent, you almost have to be careful what you think about, because you are going to become what you think about. Your thoughts will determine your future. Let's use a really simple, small example on a daily basis. If you think about reasons not to go to the gym, your brain, that powerful tool, is going to find all the reasons you need not to go to the gym. But if you think about reasons you should go to the gym, guess what? You're going to find reasons you should go to the gym, and you will end up at the gym. So remember, the brain is highly, highly powerful. And if you can manage to get a grip on your thoughts, you will have a good grip and really determine the rest of your life. You'll determine your future by keeping control of what goes through your head. So remember this: you control your thoughts, you control your destiny. Rock and roll.
Thoughts control your destiny, especially on a Friday of the loop here, weekend coming ahead of you. What decisions you make are going to affect what happens tomorrow. Hey, Jacob, quick little heads up, buddy. You get the award for the earliest guest in the green room. Yeah, very true story. Guy was here like at 4 o'clock this morning, just waiting for us. All right, hey, listen, we are going to move our attention to our greatest of all time as I try to figure out my buttons here. And we have.
Look at that blowout, Jory. The blowout looks great.
I was going to comment too, Christina. So I'm glad you did. Yeah. Jory's bringing the blowout this morning to the show.
I was parent teacher today.
Oh, Flynn commenting on that.
Oh gosh. Like when people are like, what's different about you? I'm like, oh, I washed my hair. I washed my hair today. That's what's different.
Always. It's like, oh, they're like, oh, you smell good. Oh, I showered. Thanks.
Yeah, I showered. It's not every day, but I do sometimes.
There we go. Hey, welcome back, nation, to the Protein Break, where we explore how nutrition fuels not just your body, but your mind and your resilience. Today, we're hanging out with our GOAT, the greatest of all time, nutrition expert, performance expert, diet expert, the person who tells us what to eat and what not to eat, Jory Jansen. And we're going to talk today about fall flavors. We're heading into Thanksgiving over the coming number 10 couple weeks here. And fall flavors, man, boosting immunity, overall performance. Let's talk about fall foods. Let's talk about things that are beneficial for immunity during the season. We've been talking a lot about lately, pumpkin and pumpkin spice and so forth, but let's lean into like root vegetables and spices and talk about, I know Johnny's a massive fan of micronutrients. Let's lean into some of the nutrients like cinnamon, turmeric, and root veggies and how this support not only physical health, but also that mental resilience as we're going through this holiday season. Johnny, Jory, let's tee it up. Christina, the Martha and John, storyline here. Let's put these two in the kitchen, talk about root fall vegetables, Jory and John.
I'm so not Martha.
I know you're not. That's why it's funny to me.
So not Martha. And also, I've never been to jail. So
there you go. Yeah, you're not a convicted felon.
Yes.
There you go. So
Martha didn't go until later in life either, Jory.
Well, I think the jail where she went, most people would love to experience the lifestyle in that jail.
Right.
Yeah, no kidding. And then if we have some time in our conversation, I found a good article that I quickly set aside here, but the oldest family in the world have eaten the exact same meal for their entire life. Yeah, let's talk fall foods. Let's talk turmeric. Let's talk cinnamons. Let's talk these fall foods that are all around us, Jory, and sweet potatoes and everything that's just kind of trickling into our purview right now.
Yeah. Well, let's start with like some really cool stuff. At least I think it is. So,
yeah.
So all of you should think so now. I really love those extra punches of flavor. And the brain does pick these up. The turmeric, the cinnamon, they're these pungent flavors and they hit these receptors and they have an impact with our brain. And even in terms of exercise induced muscle cramps, it hits this TRP, this receptor, and it helps sort of move the brain in terms of where it wants to focus and it releases that cramp. So in terms of performance enhancement, these pungent flavors have a huge impact in terms of our body response. The other part that most of us understand, but don't necessarily always do all year long, and you can outside of just the fall, is that things like turmeric and cinnamon help with decreasing inflammation in the body. And so a lot of stress, workouts can cause stress.
Yeah.
Having these pungent flavors come into our foods, you can have savory oatmeal, right? It doesn't have to be a sweet flavor.
Oh,
so good.
Do tell me about this.
I prefer a savory smoothie or a smoothie bowl if you want to be trendy.
Hey, Jory, can I just tap in real quick right there? Such a great thing to say because we have associations with these pungent smells and flavors. And so many times people have an association with the pie and all the fucking shit that can be harmful. So you can take these flavors and these aromas and you can attach them to healthy shit. So if you have this association with the stuff Joy's talking about, because I have them too. I mean, I start thinking I smell, pumpkin spice, whatever. My brain goes to pumpkin pie. Well, obviously, what I want to do is I want to have an association with something that's going to be good for me. Discipline's not my weak suit, so I have no problem. But for those of you that have a hard time with that, associate these. You don't have to not have them. You just have to connect them to healthy shit. So love that, Jory.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're going to add your collagen to your coffee, Why not add some cinnamon? Now you're, evening those blood sugars.
That's me.
Even helping in terms of brain health. I'll make high protein pancakes and I'm adding cinnamon and nutmeg. And I've actually had some clients, especially when they're of different cultures, they're like, well, I don't like the sweet. It's too sweet. And I'm like, oh, I can't have sweet enough. But that's okay.
I'm with you on that.
I'm switching it up and going, okay, so instead of, I'm like, well, could your high protein pancakes not have turmeric in it? And that curcumin is going to help in terms of an antioxidant enhancement. It's going to help that body remain healthy, keep that immune system up. So you're right, John. It's just thinking of these things in a different way, and it's performance enhancement in terms of not just recovery after workout or recovering from stress. You're looking at mental health too. It helps your brain function properly. So there's
because you're getting that flavor. If you want that pumpkin pie flavor, but you're getting that flavor in something else, you're satisfying that
right.
Yeah, they're making their energy bites, right? You throw some of these into them and just get that, that hit. It's an awesome flavor, but you're also enhancing your health and wellness too.
Yes, yeah, because in so many cases, these holiday type foods, the association, same with Christmas, but they're associated with these really, really intensely overly sugared, refined sugared. And it's like you get that association, oh, this is great. And you eat it and you're like, God damn, I don't feel so great anymore. Well, just think if you can have that association, oh, it's, whatever the season is, you can eat something and enjoy that and continue to enjoy rather than walk around with a gut ache.
Can you imagine though, eating a meal at a Thanksgiving event and you feel better than when you started?
Yes.
Find the couch.
Yes. That's perfect.
Beets. If we're going to talk about those things, the nitric oxide helps with oxygen. And when we have increased oxygen, we're going to think more clearly. We're going to have more energy. So why not do up some, beets when you're having your dinner? People are serving up cranberry, have some beets on the side. Why not? Have your morning recovery smoothie from an event and throw in the beets. I made sweet potatoes the other day. You're getting antioxidants, fiber. You can make sweet potato chips. Well, I don't make them like chips, but, use whatever oil you like, avocado, olive oil, or coconut oil, whatever you like, and then season them up with some turmeric and garlic. And it's a great superfood snack or meal or appetizer. So you can actually feel better with what you're doing, even though it's an event usually where you want to go find somewhere to have a nap after.
Yeah. We got Rick Clute jumping in saying you guys are spot on with associations we have with food emotionally. Great point. Jory and John, both of you, I'm intrigued by what you said. Savory oatmeal. So I'm on the sweet side of things. That's just how my life goes. Give me some options for savory oatmeal.
For sure. So I will make high protein pancakes using my oats, cottage cheese, eggs, cinnamon, and then another version that I tried with one of my clients is we put turmeric in there. And you can use these high protein pancakes as a base instead of bread. You've got these high protein pancakes, and you can have throw in an egg cup in there, and you've got a high egg McMuffin idea that's got that savory flavor without all of the extra stuff that your body doesn't really need, right? So that would be something. You can do the smoothie thing. I like to have a cup of, not everyone likes this, so that's okay, but I like a cup of hot milk, and I'll sprinkle some, it's called golden milk. So you can add some turmeric to that. And warm beverage actually can help slow you down. So in the evening, I might have a square of dark chocolate, and then I'll have my golden milk. And the hot beverage slows me down. The turmeric also, because I like sweet, so sweet tastes like more. And so I do the opposite. It just slows me down, and just having that moment of enjoying, and it's doing the body good. So that could be something as well.
No kidding. Johnny, comment on that, buddy?
Yeah, I think when it comes down to it, there's so many ways to take this holiday association that we have with food and spin it. And because the association brings joy, we're like, oh, this is going to be great. It's a fun feeling. Well, let's meet that fun with a positive so that the fun continues. So you're not basically eating this shit and feeling like hell. And in most cases, especially like in a family event, people lose sight of the fact that you're there for the people. You're not there to fucking stuff your face to the point where we're all fighting for who gets the couch. And so when you just kind of just spin it a little bit, and if you're intentional about making these associations a positive thing rather than a negative thing, because they're a negative thing and most people don't even know it.
Yeah, true story. Hey, listen, you're hanging out with Keith, Jory, Christina, Flynn, Mornings and Live with Keith and Friends, the Protein Break. Jory, you got 2 minutes? You got a quick 3 minutes to hang around to talk about what the oldest family in the world has eaten?
Yeah, sure. That's cool.
Let's do that. So listen, before we head over to the Brand Bite and keep the show going with Reloaded here, but I found a story here. The oldest family in the world ate the same meal for their entire life, and even experts swear by it. And it's from the Bilous family. And in 2023, as we know, Netflix did a documentary on the secrets of the blue zones, Life to 100. And we actually debunked that here on the show a few weeks back because they found that a lot of the folks living in the blue zones had a birth record that didn't exist. So we may want to put some a grain of salt on what I'm going to say next. However, these folks, the Bilous family, have eaten the same thing every single day forever. It's plant-based, contains foods that are full of vitamins. Explaining the meal, they've had the same thing. Sourdough bread, 3-bean minestrone soup, a chunky minestrone with garden vegetables. It's always 3 beans, garbanzo, pinto, white bean. And then they had a small glass of red wine, 2 to 3 ounces. And that's it. Every single day of their whole lives.
Is this for one specific meal, or
is this for every meal they're eating, or just one time per day?
Every single meal, that's all they ate.
They didn't eat any other food in their whole lives.
That's it. Yeah, that's it.
Well, I tell you, their fucking stomachs got really good at digesting that one thing.
Because you talk about humans that eat just whole foods, and you said, "Hey, we need to track people that only eat whole foods their entire life." Well, in many ways, these folks perhaps are just ones that are eating. Like, here's an example of eating nothing but whole foods, and they're living up into their 100s. So there you go.
Well, and the thing, Jory can go deeper into this, but when you limit what you're putting in your stomach gets really fucking efficient at digesting that right there. And so by them really having a narrow spectrum of food and whole foods, the enzymes for digesting that are just like rocket. It's that they're just so good at doing it. I mean, Jory can go to the science behind that, but obviously processed foods make a huge problem for the stomach, but then you get rid of those and you kind of keep a fairly narrow thing. The body just gets better and better and better because the spectrum is so narrow.
Yeah, I think anytime that you find a way that works for you, it's going to be beneficial. So I've always said there isn't one way to get to a destination. It's what's the best way for you. And those foods are great. That's part. For me, I'd want a little variety, but I guess if that's what you have available to you and that's what you're choosing, like, fantastic. You're going to look for, anything that you want to find a yes to, you're going to find that. So I look at my grandmother, who's 95, living in her own home, and Ukrainian background, right? So it's like this, creamy that, pierogies, cabbage rolls, all those sort of things. So some of it is a genetic factor for sure. But the other part too is like all those tuber vegetables, those plant-based proteins, those are great for you. You're getting fiber, antioxidants. The other thing about limiting the variety is that we tend to eat less. There was a study showing like people that ate colorful, like M&M type candies versus one color. The more variety of colors, the more that you ate, right?
Oh, so interesting.
You're controlling.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So you're controlling the intake right there. So we know that if we don't have excessive calories and the amount of fiber they're taking in, they're probably get full pretty quickly. So if you're decreasing the variety, you're like unlikely to overeat. And then the types of foods that they're choosing too, based on that study, seems pretty awesome too. But yeah, decreasing the variety, it's like, tastes good, tastes like I'm done, right?
Yeah.
I'm the handful of foods, just say there's a handful of foods that I've eaten the majority of my life. And when I stick with those, my digestion it just flies. I open up the spectrum a little bit, and it's not like something's wrong. It just slows down a little bit. It's got the stomach's got a larger, more, I guess you'd say, a more widespread job to do rather than just having, working on a few simple things that it knows exactly what to do with. So I'm a huge it's monotonous for sure, but I'm a big connoisseur on having a fairly narrow spectrum. To me, it feels good inside.
I have so many questions around that study too. They're like, why? What was their why? Not judgmental, curiosity. Why? What's their why for that only? Was it that was what was available?
Yeah.
For
Was it access? Was it desire? Was it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the May Elise story, or just a good story to talk about. Listen. They knew some guy on a morning show needed something to talk about for a few minutes. Like, hey, let's do a study on how people live longer. Let's just do that.
Pick up
So
the shit that says only beans.
that's exactly it. See,
well, in many cases, you always look at what they're eating. It may be a access thing, or it may be a financial thing. Maybe they're not a really well-off family, but they know that they can eat really well when they're using this.
That's it. All right, Jory, we got to let Jory get on with her day here. We always appreciate Jory joining us Monday, Wednesday, Friday with the protein break around the 8:45 mark of the show, giving us things to think about. Today we talked about savory ways to consume our fall foods. Jory, what's up for the weekend? I know you got parent-teacher interviews today. What's going on for the rest of the weekend, Jory?
What is going on? Some work, and well, my husband's finally back from like in and out trips, so some family time.
Nice,
very nice, just in time.
Awesome. Well, you enjoy yourself. Have a great weekend, and maybe we'll talk a little bit of inflammation next week. Inflammation seems to be a topic that a lot of people are curious about, wonder about. Like
and what's the anti-inflammatory diet out there?
Right. Yeah. Let's go there. Let's go there on Monday. We'll go inflammation on Monday with Jory and Johnny, myself, Christina, and the whole gang here. But Jory, you rock and roll. We got Flynn doing some stuff, and hey, I think I might, Johnny. I think for Reloaded, before we get to the Elon Musk morning routine thing, I think I'm going to lean into the start-stop technique and why it could benefit men's sex life. But before
stop, I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that. The start.
He wants that, Johnny. He wants you to not know what he means because it's a lovely tease.
Yes, exactly.
It's a teaser, baby. It's a teaser. Yeah. Okay.
Johnny, you go and lift up the left cheek and go put the right cheek down. We'll see in a minute, and Flynn's going to do her thing. We'll see you shortly.
Lift up the left cheek and the right cheek. Here's my thing with coffee. When I wanted to replace sweetener, I used cinnamon only, and it became sweet enough. So I know what you're thinking. Yes, I should be sweet enough on my own, but I'm not. And you're going to have to deal with the lozenge again today because I'm hacking up along. So, brand bite for today. The real reason why we build a personal brand. When I started building my brand, I thought it was all about exposure, authority, followers. And to be honest, at first it was. I wrote, I posted, I networked, I did all the right things. And yes, I really did grow in those vanity metrics, upwards, 16,000+ followers on X. But here's what I learned along the way. The real growth wasn't in my brand, actually. It was in me. Building your brand is not about gaining followers. It's about self-reflection. It's about developing self-compassion. It's about increasing your self-awareness. The work is too hard if you just are driving yourself by those vanity metrics, because the algorithm shifts and change. 1 minute, things will work out really well. The next minute, they won't. And there won't be a reason for either one of those things. And the truth is, most people just don't stick to it for the exposure part of it. It has to be deeper. It has to be driven by something that's internal to you. Those people, they stay for the personal growth. That's why the folks are doing it. The formula that I started with was who plus what, who plus how equals what. That became much, much deeper. The work taught me that it was really about my why, a why that I didn't even know existed at the time that I started. So if you are grinding to build your brand right now, remind yourself, what's the reason that I'm doing this for? Is it just for the vanity metrics? Is it just for the followers? Or are you trying to build a platform for something much bigger? Are you trying to use it as an opportunity to get to know yourself better? It's likely, I promise you, not the reason that you think it is. Yes, it really is that simple. I have entered my no fucks era, and I promise you, if you take today's brand bite into account, you will be one step closer to entering yours. You got this.
It's Christina Flynn dropping the brand bites every day, Monday to Friday, 9 o'clock Eastern time.
I have the best theme song. Mine is the best out of everyone's.
I love your theme song. I love the theme song. It's a really good one. I'm working on mixing them up here this weekend, but I like this one too. Yep. This is when it kicks off the second hour. Hey, Mike McQuillan, I see you there. I love your comment. The first time I hosted Christmas, Flynn, he says, I didn't realize how easy it was to buy cake and a few pounds of cookies. True story what he says next. Meanwhile, Johnny, the effort it takes to whip up a healthy meal is real work. Yeah, let's go buy some cookies and some cake and put it on the table. And the hell, I got to make some chicken and
not to mention a hell of a lot more expensive.
Yeah. Well, this is why A, you buy in bulk. B, you buy in frozen if you really need to save money. And C, when you're cooking, you cook as much as the pan of the barbecue will afford you. Meaning to fill. If you're going to turn the barbecue on, fill the son of a bitch up. You're gonna heat up a pan, fill it up, because then you're cooking once and you're getting a whole bunch of meals from it.
Yeah, that's actually really good.
Smart way to look at it. I've never really thought of it that way.
If you are going to turn the barbecue on,
it's for all of you inefficient humans.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, Flynn,
you idiot.
To the second, man. Intentional to
the
second.
Oh my gosh. It's wild. I can't wait. Here's what I get excited about.
Yeah.
All the journals that Johnny has.
I get them. They're mine.
You get them, fine, in the will. But then we can take them and put them into AI.
Yeah.
And we can see this whole journey unfold in an entirely different way.
Yes. So Flynn, I'm really curious. So we talk a lot about bowel movements on this show and so forth. And John's a big proponent of the bidet. Oh, I guess I've answered my own question, because I'm thinking that John doesn't count out how many sheets of paper he's got to use to, like, on the toilet paper roll, because he uses the bidet. So anyways, John, that joke just goes sideways here. Hey, listen, we're going to come up. We're gonna come.
Well, I didn't bring them today. I forgot, but I actually pulled out. It's about this thick. I'm not sure how many books. Probably 4 or 5 books. Yeah. I had them sitting on my desk. I was actually going to bring them to the studio so I could whip a few of them out and just kind of show you guys.
Yes. Don't reveal to everybody what I'm getting in the future. I
told Terry you wanted that. She said no.
Good. What?
She said no.
I'm gonna arm wrestle Terry, although I've seen Terry's arms.
And lose every day. Every day you'll lose. My money's on Terry.
All right, we spent the first hour looking at the general elements of Elon Musk's approach to mornings, and the Chad. No, I have her phone number, so you can't have it. Let's dig into the specifics.
Oh, my wife.
Elon's balance is chaos. He tackles challenges and optimizing productivity. And Elon's routine, is it realistic for everyone, or is it simply Musk? We're going to break it down in a few moments. But before we do that, I got a topic here I'm going to put on stage, which is, what is the start-stop technique and why it could benefit a men's sex life? Mike McQuillan, if you're paying attention right now, ears are going to go up. I just dropped your name. Good time. Here we are. Rick, ears up, boys. Ears up. If you struggle in the bedroom, if you struggle with some premature ejaculation, you're not alone. It happens to all of us, guys. It happens to all of us. Christina always says to me, Keith, you got to give tactics, man. You got to give stuff for guys to take away. Well, hey, I'm giving you something today, guys. Today, we're talking about premature ejaculation, how you can prevent it. And how you could prevent it is the start and stop technique. Johnny, it is as simple as getting close to the edge, then stopping. And training your body how you can extend the experience. So, John, think of weightlifting, right? You're doing a big bench press, you're coming down a little bit, and you push up again, right? So it's you get into the edge before you push it forward. So what you could do, gentlemen, is you could use the squeeze technique, or you can squeeze off the shaft of the penis so that as you're about to ejaculate, you squeeze it off. And I'm talking, this is real shit, guys.
I just got to jump in here real quick. For any male that hasn't fucking figured this out by yourself, Jesus Christ, no wonder you're a fucking terrible lover. Jesus Christ. I mean, if you're trying to please your partner and you're getting close and she's not, back the fuck up, Jesus Christ, this is a technique, of course, as a young man, I've mastered this technique.
So I will be honest with you, I had to learn the technique as a young man. I've been vulnerable with my stories as a young man, but listen, this idea of edging as you get older, gentlemen, it could lead to more intense orgasms. So as John has said, as you're figuring stuff out in your journey, and as you get older, if things are maybe kind of changing, you might want to think about how you can do some start-stop techniques. You're never too old to learn new things, Johnny. Never too old to learn new things.
Well, I think part of the problem there is that if you enter into the situation without really deciding, okay, I want this to be good for her also, that simple state of mind might help you be a little bit more aware of what the fuck's going on.
Yes. So gentlemen, as you're going through your life expectancy work this weekend, think about this. If you're going, I want to improve my sex life, I want to improve my arousal, I want to improve my orgasm, what you could consider is, as you're getting to the brink of climax, you might want to think that whole body's involved, you're intensely engaged, you're emotionally engaged, muscles are tensing up, blood's flowing. Johnny, stop. Like what? Yes.
I mean, even in today's world, I guess I will get graphic. I might be, Taryn, I might be doing her thing, and I got to slow down or back up. She knows what I'm doing.
Yes. Slow it down. Edge it, boys. Slow it down, because you know what? Everybody's going to benefit from the whole experience. And Johnny, who doesn't want more loving? Who doesn't want more time with their partner?
And we've given the best piece of advice. If you're really struggling with this, empty the fucking clip before it starts.
And then we have Mike Wolf jumping in with a comment here that's saying, to my ex-wife, perfect sex is like a car wash. You start by lining up right and going in slow, and you finish when 3 dudes run up and furiously towel you off.
Okay.
That's quite an analogy there. Goodness gracious.
What it is? So there you go.
I didn't expect the 3 dude part at the end,
So the start-stop technique, gentlemen, as you head into your life expectancy work, it could benefit your sex life. And listen,
but do we need to also add the tip? When you take a dump, wipe your butt. Do we need to add that? Are we going to start giving those types of tips too? Because this is such a fucking basic tip. I want to know how the hell people didn't know about this or even have stumble across this.
Listen,
I suppose
Johnny,
you
judge people. Maybe they don't know, and that's okay too.
Well, all I'm doing is
we're going to give it to them.
And all I'm doing is just saying, fucking wake up and be a little bit more intentional about what you're doing. You're going to figure out a lot of stuff on the way. I'm not saying, damn it, you suck. I'm saying, damn it, wake up.
Put a little bit of edging into your life, gentlemen. You might enjoy some pleasure throughout the rest of your day and the rest of your weekend.
And we've all been a 3-pump dumper. It's happened to every one of us,
100%.
Me too.
So
Me too.
it's one of those things to where shit happens and you learn from that.
Listen, if there's anything you're going to get on the show, guys, is you're going to get honest, vulnerable, real chat here. Because you know what, as you learn, like, we're all just human. You know what? And as Johnny said, we've all gone through these experiences, and you're going to have conversations here that nobody's having anywhere else. So
think like this. In any task, what should say, most every task in life, the first time you do it, you're going to suck. And the second time, you're going to suck a little less. And the third time, you're going to suck a little less. So you just keep working on it to the point where finally you don't suck. And then you get to the side of, God damn it, I'm actually fair. I'm getting better at this. They're getting better the whole time, but I'm getting good at it. So it's a process, and it's okay. You have to realize you're going to suck. And the second time, you suck a little less. And just remember, each time you suck a little less. And it takes the pressure off of you feeling like you got to be great right out of the gate.
Great, get out of the gate. Listen, let's do this. Let's pivot our conversation to the main topic of the day, Elon Musk's morning routine. We're segueing from edging Christina Flynn to the edge of space and the edge of humanity with Elon Musk. And
not too bad.
Yeah, not too bad. Yeah, not too bad. And hey, we got a video we've lined up, Jimmy. So we got the video lined up here. It's a few-minute video. I think we're going to throw it on screen. It's Elon Musk's morning routine. And we're going to talk about it, and we're going to talk about, is it for you? Is it for me? Is it for everybody? And just listen, we've spent the entire week talking about Johnny Flynn, with it, The Rock, Mark Wahlberg, David Goggins, all these extreme human beings doing crazy shit, LeBron James. And then we got Elon, the richest man in the world, doing nothing. And I mean nothing like the rest of them. So, Jimmy, let's throw the video on and see what happens. And hold on. Rick says, suck less every day until you get good. Sounds crazy, but it works. And Rick says, what do I need to start doing? What do I need to stop? Yes, exactly, Rick. All right, let's do this. Put this up on stage, and we're going to hit play. And
this is a great segue because Elon's got at least 12 kids.
Yeah.
I think he's got 11, yeah.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Moving to the compound in Texas. All right, let's turn it on.
And down. Waking up. How many hours do you spend sleeping every night? Do you adhere to the recommendation by health experts saying 8 hours of sleep is needed for optimal performance? It appears this rule doesn't apply to everyone, and Elon Musk is one of those individuals who appear to be doing well without the average 8 hours of sleep every night. According to Musk, he only needs 6 hours of sleep. The billionaire is often up until after midnight and wakes up by 7 a.m. to respond to important emails for half an hour. Whilst there is a consensus that successful people are notoriously early risers, the key is to structure your day in the most productive manners. The CEO of Apple, Tim Cook, wakes up at 3:45 a.m. every morning. Mark Zuckerberg sleeps in until 8 a.m., and Aaron Levy, co-founder and CEO of Box, wakes up at 10 a.m. I believe the idea of waking up early is to take advantage of a few hours of solitude before everyone else wakes up and your entire world becomes noisy.
Elon does not sleep 8 hours a night.
To enjoy fewer
Christina,
phone
you did
calls
some
from your
research. How
boss
many
or
hours does Elon
colleagues
sleep
and
per night?
fewer
It really depends. He's typically up sometimes till like 3 in the morning, 2 or 3 in the morning, and sometimes he's getting up at he's a 9 or a 10 a.m. though. He's not like sometimes maybe he'll get up at 7, but typically it says that he gets up at around 9 to 10 a.m. So he's probably getting around like a 6 hours.
Yeah, he often skips his breakfast, opts for a quick coffee, prioritizing efficiency over meals. Takes a hot shower, which he considers essential for sparking ideas and feeling refreshed. Let's keep the video rolling. And hey, I think I'm going to offer a voiceover work for this video. Yeah.
The video's on Elon's morning routine.
Interruptions from your kids or spouse at 5 a.m. This allows you to be proactive instead of reactive. It also allows you to set your agenda for the day early. Alternatively, you may decide to shift your quiet hours to the night when everyone else has gone to bed. And this is what I think Elon Musk is doing. The bottom line is whether you wake up at 3 in the morning every day or at 10 a.m., you can still structure your day to make the most of it. What matters is what you accomplish during the hours you work. On this note, figure out what works best for you. Exercise and breakfast. Elon Musk seems to go against the tide in so many areas. Not only does he sleep below the recommended number of hours, but he also skips things such as exercise and breakfast in most cases. The experts certainly don't recommend this. Musk hits each day running, or rather working. After waking up at 7 a.m., the next thing on his agenda is to respond to urgent and important emails.
He tries to fit in some low-intensity workout like using a treadmill while watching TV. Hey, Johnny, when clients come to you, the guy is just getting started out that doesn't want to go, and I know you are a subscriber of the lifestyle of minimal cardio and so forth. You want to get people eating correctly. But are you a fan of some guy putting the treadmill on and watching TV just to get his legs moving, Johnny?
I think when it comes down to, I'm a big connoisseur when it comes to exercise. When you want to do something, that's very sustainable.
Yes.
When you're forced to do something and you don't enjoy it, it's just at some point anybody's going to wake up and say, "I don't give a shit. I'm not doing it tomorrow."
Yes. Yeah.
So if doing your exercise, watching television is what makes it work for you, absolutely.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Whatever you got to do, right?
I think the interesting part about Elon is that we were talking about this earlier, Keith. It is very different than what we've seen on the 4 previous elite performers that we've talked about this week. He's checking his emails first thing. They always say, don't do that. Keep your phone out of your room. Don't look at emails first thing because you're going to focus on the stress and the problems versus actually getting into things. He's not a big fan of breakfast. He doesn't love working out, but he kind of like forces himself to do it. He stays up late at night and then is waking up sometimes a little earlier, sometimes not. So he's just doing things entirely differently. It obviously works for him. And I think we posed on the thumbnail, like, does it matter if you're biohacking in terms of like, maybe he doesn't need to do these things because he's doing different things? I'm not sure. I can't get obviously the validated information on that. But I think the point is that it's just entirely different from anything else we've seen.
Yes.
Well, and I think his brain is entirely different, so what the rules of engagement, so to speak, for him are so different than everybody else because he's got his supercomputer. His brain operates differently than most. And so, kind of going back to like, if I didn't have to do all of what I do in the morning to be at my best every day, it wouldn't be so important to me, but I need to do this for me to operate at a high level. He's at the highest level and he doesn't do what a lot of other high performers do. Good for him.
Yes.
Well, and lifestyle makes a big difference. Like for me, I I do my best work at night. I am a night owl for sure. I spend my time there. I love it when everyone's gone to bed and I'm just working, but that doesn't work for me right now as a mom because I have to get up early. So I would love to do that every day, but it doesn't work. So maybe one day again, I can take that on, but it just doesn't work for my lifestyle right now.
Well, in the morning routine, what you strip it away, pull all the layers of the onion back. It's about making a person their best, helping them be productive, helping them achieve what they want to achieve. So there's no right answer to this. The answer is, I mean, it could be a night routine. It could be, I mean, when you get these guys like him, he I mean, goodness, he doesn't have to adhere to any schedule. He could do pretty much what he chooses and continue to do what he does. So, you know, he's just a different creature in terms of I think, I don't know, even though we're talking about other really, really high performers, he's in a league of his own.
Yeah. Well, that's in many ways, Johnny, Christina, it's why I put him on stage to contrast the entire week ahead of us. And most importantly, to show our audience, to show nation that there's not one approach.
Yeah.
There's not, right? So John's approach, Christina's approach, Keith's approach, Marty's approach, Rich's approach, Elon's approach, you know, everybody is, I'm going to go for a quick little 10-second rant here. Everybody's selling a system. There's no magic. It's just finding something that works for you. And then as Johnny says, stack the habits. And there's one thing I keep leaning into, don't judge the man, judge the habits that make the man, right? And clearly the habits that Elon does on a day-to-day basis work for him. And you know what? It might not work for John, might not work for Christina, might not work for Jacob Hong. And I love Jacob coming in, right? Because we asked him a question like we ask every guest, how do you start your morning? And John, what's he say? Oh, it starts the night before. I love that, man, because when somebody gives you that answer, that means they're thinking about their next day. Like that's powerful shit, man. You've got your shit together when you're thinking about your next day the night before because you know tomorrow is coming inevitable. Many humans don't think that way.
Tomorrow's success is planned today. It's that simple.
Yeah. So there we go, nation. We wrapped up Elon's. I'm going to invite you guys to check the video. We're going to include it in this clip of the show here as we keep figuring out how we're going to keep including more dynamic content for you guys. But we're going to work towards moving towards Community Corner. John's got to get rock and rolling here. Another full week in the books here. Johnny, I'm going to make an assumption that today's highlight for you is Jacob, and you also really have been leaning into, I love that you shared this morning that you're like, yeah, I'm going to get up a little bit earlier today to start trying to lean into some of the things that Marcus Newcomb taught you. But let's wrap the week up, Johnny. Thoughts from you, pal?
You know, goodness, it was a great week.
Yeah.
You know, our guests are good. I mean, I think if we go back to the week highlight, it's going to be Marcus because he actually inspired me to do something a little bit more. And anytime I love that when I have the chance to speak with someone that helps me see that I can be better. To me, that's a gift. It's a blessing. So I'm very thankful. He found his way onto the show, or we got him, whatever you want to call it. I'm very thankful for it.
Yeah, it is a gift, Johnny. I agree with you, man. Like since I met you, I feel like I get a gift because I think of things. Flynn are gifts, and these guests, like some of the things Jacob said today, I'm thinking about. Right, so it's just we bring people in that are in the same orbit, dropping nuggets, and if we all can take a little bit of, Jory drops some nuggets, Mike McQuillan drops some nuggets, right? Rick Clutie dropped nuggets. If we all just take these little pieces, it makes our lives better, right? So, and of course, I dropped the nugget around edging, gentlemen. So if you missed that segment of the show, go back on that.
I'm going to take that one. I've really been inspired by that one. So that would be my.
Flynn's totally been inspired by the edging.
What was it?
The conversation around edging, taking yourself to the edge before you.
Oh.
the stop-start technique. Johnny, what do you got plans for the weekend loop, brother, before we rock and roll out of here? I know you got some life expectancy work today, but what's going on tomorrow and Sunday?
I got some guests coming into town, which is nice. Yeah. So it's always nice to spend some time with people I don't get to actually spend physical time with. So I'm looking forward to that.
Awesome. Well, you have a wonderful weekend with the family and those guests, and say hi to Terry. I'm going to go do some arm training so I can do the arm wrestle when it's time to arm wrestle Terry for those journalists. Yeah,
I don't know. He's a bodybuilder, so
Canadian bodybuilder, Johnny, a Canadian bodybuilder too. With that,
that's it.
All right, Anderson, I appreciate you. Lots of love from me to you, brother. You have yourself a great day. Say hi to Terry for us. We'll catch up with you on Monday, okay, pal?
Thank you, guys. Have a great couple loops. See you on what most people call Monday. We'll see you in a couple of loops.
That's right. All right, Johnny's out of here. We're going to keep the conversation going into the community corner, into the creator spotlight. Jimmy, we are rock and roll. We're going to feature somebody who's a marketing specialist extraordinaire. Before we do that, I'm going to take a minute here to take my tab over this window and put it onto this window here. So I'm a little bit more prepared than I was for Jacob with our little gown presentation. But we are getting better with all that. I'm quite pleased with all that. We are doing well. 100% we're doing well. And ideally, Nation, my internet doesn't crash before the end of the show. As I was saying to Flynn yesterday, big thanks to Flynn for helping us close the show yesterday. The biggest issue I have with my internet, as I was telling Flynn yesterday, is that I just don't want to have to call Rogers. Because that's just like taking a whole day out of my life to have conversations around why it dies out after 90 minutes or why it's stuck. And then I'm going to have
the Americans, that's our AT&T.
Yeah. So we all know, Rick and Mike and all my American friends, that it takes forever to get through the communication companies and get one answer that we think is simple. But anyways. All right. So Flynn, I like the creator spotlight today. Yeah. I like the creator spotlight. Right? Yeah. Another Chicagonian.
Something about those folks from Illinois.
Maybe he knows Jacob.
Probably because it's that small. It's like when people learn you're from Canada, they go, "Oh, I've been to Canada," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, where?" They're like, "Vancouver." I'm like, "Cool, nowhere close to me." People
all think that Keith and Christina are neighbors. Oh yeah, just down the road, 2-hour plane flight away. True story. What's shaking, Flynn? All right, Jimmy. Let's keep going with this, brother. Y'all know producer Jimmy. He's the master on the buttons there. No, maybe the master of his domain.
Oz. That's what we got to call him.
Oz. Yeah, Oz. The master of his domain, the master of the buttons, Jimmy Oz. Exactly. All right. The Sound Off Media Company. Yes, Rogers equals robbers. We had a 7-hour support call. Oh, the Sound Off Company thing. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, here's my segue, Flynn. Subscribe to the channel, like the channel, tell your friends you found the greatest morning show on the planet. Sound Off Media Company, I'm stressed about your comment because I don't have 7 hours just to set aside just to get the answer that I'm probably not going to need. So you know what I might just do, Flynn? Maybe I'll just call Elon and book some Starlink and just let the fucking Rogers thing go away.
I mean, you could do that.
Yeah, could do that.
That's what Johnny did.
Yeah, he did. He actually did. Time bandits. I know, Sound Off. They are time bandits. Every communication company will just steal time. And Christina, it's not going to get any better with these AI agents. You know, do you think it's going to get better support for all this shit?
I mean, like the conversations, the live conversations, we have so many checkpoints we have to go through, right?
Yes.
They make them go through these checkpoints because that determines the route that you have to go. So maybe AI will allow us to do some of that more quickly. I don't know. You know me. I was on with the Canadian government for a ridiculous amount of time the other day. And there's few things that make me really pissed off. I was pissed. Like it really affected my day. And I was like, this is how I know I still have personal growth to do. Because if the CRA can really piss me off like this in a call, which never actually materialized into anything.
Yeah.
They hung up on me after the 5th time and hours of being there. So
I have an idea for Uncle Keith. The Sound Off Media Company, thanks for that advice, because you're right. Starlink slow on the upload, great on the download. You're right. Maybe for my show, not going to work well. Hey, Flynn, maybe what we can do, I got my hands all active here. Maybe what we can do is I can set the camera up and I could call CRA or I could call Rogers and I could see how Uncle Keith reacts or responds through the conversation.
That's the talent, right? Or it's like my test would be sitting down and with one of my uncles and having a conversation, right? Like we've all got our things of being like,
yeah,
yeah, just respond.
All right, listen, Jimmy, Christina, let's go to our creator spotlight. And Nation, Jacob Hong's appearance on the show started through what's happening right now. We saw Jacob work landscaper, and I love the landscaping industry because we just think about cutting the lawn.
Cool.
Oh man, but yet they're just these
so
massive.
Much more than that.
It is, man. We got who's coming on the show in December? Brian Clayton. He was on Live in the Lab a number of months back. The guy took $20, Christina, one lawnmower, turned it into a $25 million plus landscaping company, and sold it.
So
and then
cool.
did it again. Let's do it again. Like, come on, right? So,
love that.
Anyways, okay, listen, we're gonna feature a marketing specialist today. Marketing specialist extraordinaire. Felix, here's the cut for the creator spotlight. This creator helps brands identify and leverage their unique stories to connect with their audiences. Yeah. Creator of impact. This human works tirelessly on campaigns that they don't just sell, they make a difference. Oh, that's good. Yeah. Bringing value and creating conversations. You know, Flynn, I'm just thinking as I'm doing this. You're thinking, oh, fuck, really, Bilous? Yeah, I am, actually. I'm thinking right now. You and I, listen, nation, you guys all sit through these fucking boring presentations, boring podcasts and boring meetings and boring information being displayed to you. Listen to how I'm doing this with you guys right now. You guys want to put some entertainment into your business or entertainment into your life? Just hire Flynn and Bilous. We'll do a meeting for you guys. We'll do a presentation for you guys. We'll do your quarterly analysis for you guys. We'll add some color to it. We'll add some entertainment to it. People actually might listen and tune in instead of the boring podcast shit you guys always do. Anyways, this creator, sorry, Flynn had to rant for a second.
We're Jimmy, the best ever wedding MCs you ever did see.
Yeah, and Jimmy, we're going to keep this part in the segment so that our guest knows that we're good at this, and the guest might say, "Yeah, I'm going to hire Christina and Keith to come in and do some."
Not our guest, our creator spotlight. We'll get to that.
Because listen, if you guys want us to come and be at your event and host your event, or host your meeting, or do some on-stage speaking, drive some energy into your house, we'll help you. Anyways, this creator is the founder of something. Yeah, they are. They help people find and articulate what makes their brand stand out in a noisy world. It's a noisy world right now. Oh my God, it's a noisy world. Yep. Today's creator spotlight, Christina Flynn and producer Jimmy, the Oz, coming up with Flynn on the drums is right now, boom, boom, boom. Doug Lawson. Yes, a little bit of energy on a Friday, Doug. I'm giving to you. Man, this is the most energy I've given to a creator all week, buddy. Yeah, true story. Because you're from Chicago. I love Chicago. Great city. Christina, I might like Chicago more than New York City, actually. I love Chicago. Great city. Listen, Doug is messaging that slaps. Yeah. Helps technical founders turn content to high-ticket sales. No bullshit content to revenue systems. And Flynn, he is an elder millennial. I know you're a millennial. Do you want to argue about that?
I'm an elder millennial, in fact.
Yeah, there you go. So listen, why are we celebrating Doug Lawson today in our creator spotlight? Is it because he's an elder millennial, Christina?
Maybe one of the reasons. I'll tell you what, though. Why is that elder millennial so important in his headline? Because of what we're doing right now. If he just put, I'm a speaker, I have a TEDx talk, I have this, I have that, we're not connecting with him. He's telling a story through one word, 2 words in his headline. He also does it through, messaging that slaps. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
You can tell by the way that he communicates. Doug is that person we love, unapologetically him. He is authentic. He's figured it out. He's figured out how to show up and be himself in all ways. And then he's trying to help other people to do the same. And he's like if you even just look at his branding, it's not typical to what we're seeing online. It's just not. And the podcast that he's doing, he's just really living and breathing what he is trying to help people with. And I think that's the most compelling thing, right? For me, it's like, we talked about this, the chef that doesn't eat anything except for garbanzo soup, are you going to want to eat what they're cooking? No. You want to see somebody who's actually doing and living what they're trying to bring out there into the world and how they're trying to help clients. And I think, look at him. Doug is doing this.
I'm just leaving this here on this one screen here, Jimmy, Christina, because as we do the post-production content, it's going to fly through somebody's feed. Doug just hitting the remote, just bombing on the screen there. So, Doug, we want to have you on this show. Doug, here's a little secret, man. This is like our cold call, our soft cold call.
Oh, he's out.
Work. And then we hope you come on and then you celebrate somebody, Doug. You're like, hey, Keith, Christina, I think that guy over there is doing some really cool stuff on LinkedIn. Okay. Or that guy. I want to see this
post. Press see more. I want to see what he says here. Attraction marketing is 2020 playbook. Justin Welsh, Gary Vee, Dan Coe, Alex Hormozy. Be the most popular person in the room and you'll win business. Be seen everywhere and you'll win business. Complete and dominate. It kicked off the era of reach. Huh.
There you go. All right, Doug. So we want to have you on the show, brother. We want to have you here. You're invited, officially invited. And we want to take somebody in your orbit and celebrate them. That's how we do it here on the show. Mornings and Labs.
Come here. Tell us who you love and respect, who's doing really big things. Because we recognize this is not easy work. Showing up every day,
No.
putting yourself out there, understanding who you are authentically is one thing, and then being able to share it with the world, and then being able to help other people to do the same. It's not easy work. So we've got a lot of respect for Doug, and we know that creators who are doing really great things are surrounded by creators doing really great things, and we want to give them an opportunity. We want to give you, Doug, an opportunity to come and highlight somebody in your world that you've got a lot of respect for.
Doug, we want to have you on the show. Come join us. Come hang out with myself, Christina, Johnny. Bring your remote control and shoot some flames at the screen. I like this tune. Just gets me happy as we wrap up here. We're going to wrap up with some business and branding. Keith and Christina are going to riff for a few minutes here about, I want to talk about Elon's personal brand. I know Flynn is an expert in personal branding. You guys need some personal brand work. She's the expert for you here. Flynn, Elon is a very polarizing human being. Duh. Yeah, true story. How does this love him or hate him approach work for his brand? I got to be honest with you, when I was putting together this week's shows and we selected LeBron and The Rock, and I knew that we were putting a very contrasting figure, and it was as much about how contrasting is to everybody else, but I love how the polarization of his brand. It's love him or hate him. There is no gray. No gray.
No.
Like zero gray. And there's actually
maybe the gray is you can respect what he's done in what he's brought to the world in terms of innovation without loving him.
Right. There are some humans I have been witnessing or reading about that are Tesla owners that are driving around with boycott signs and I think going home struggling with what the owner of their company is, the owner of their car is, and it's just there's a lot of conflict there. And what I find really intriguing about Elon, Christina, is that how his fingers are in so many different pies, affecting so many different humans, and you don't really have much of a choice but to perhaps not engage or embrace with something he's probably touching.
This is the dichotomy we face all the time, right? With folks that are incredibly powerful in this way. I don't think he's a good human. I don't think he's a good man. I think he stands for a lot of really shitty things in the world. And you cannot dispute the innovation and the change that he's been able to bring related to technology, related to potentially something that's going to be a massive factor in climate change and helping us with that in the movement towards EV. And space expedition, I don't know how important it is. I can't speak to something I don't know a lot about, but what he's doing and what his brain is able to bring to the table, you can't dispute the impact that he's going to have on society. So I can separate those two things, but it is harder when you think about providing financial access or giving your hard-earned money to somebody whose viewpoints and humanity you don't necessarily agree with.
Let's weave Jacob Hong to Elon Musk, because Jacob said something this morning about confidence.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere on Elon's journey, he developed the confidence to be what he is today. He wasn't always this. I saw a comment this morning from his ex-wife Grimes, which was he's unrecognizable now. Jacob talked about how in his journey from SVP over the 9 years, how he gained confidence. And I'll keep talking, Christina, while she figures out her coughing lung. Let's talk about how, as entrepreneurs starting their journey right now, they're like, yeah, well, I'm like Elon, but I don't really have the confidence to present myself that way. How does one gain that confidence? Is it constantly failing, constantly succeeding, or constantly getting the reps in? I know it's an obvious question, obvious answer, but Flynn, thoughts on this? Oh, muted.
Son of a bitch, I swear. Sucking on lozenges here, my throat. I've been sick for like 100 days. Anyways, so I think it's all of them. Yeah. And because the reps are what gives you the successes, the reps are what gives you the failures. I think that it's an underrated conversation related to entrepreneurs is this idea of confidence, because a lot of times the assumption is, well, confident people start businesses.
Yes.
Confident people are entrepreneurs. And you and I both know, I just knew that that's where I needed to be. I didn't necessarily have the confidence. Maybe I just had the risk appetite to do it. And over time, you realize there's moments in your life where you can feel really confident. Like I always think about my time at the NBA. By the time I was leaving there, I was good. I was in a good spot. I was real confident. I was like, okay, I've got everything sort of figured out. I feel really good about the value I bring to this workplace, everything. And when I left, I took a big hit in my confidence because all of a sudden it was like the value that I brought to this workplace wasn't necessarily valued in my next place. And all these things to say, it ebbs and it flows. And now I'm in this moment where I'm on an upward trajectory again. I think the goal for me is to go from like these really big sweeping mountains and valleys to like something a little bit more stable. I know it's going to keep going. I know it's going to keep being up and down, but I'm looking for something a little bit more stable. And the only way that you can really get that for me has been get in the reps and fucking fail and fall on your face and take the shower fully clothed in the fetal position and feel bad for yourself and then say, okay, let's do this again.
I got to be honest. I've enjoyed watching your journey with us in the mornings, like, you know, making the small changes, making the tweaks, because you do watch somebody's journey. And I bring that up because anybody watching Elon over the last 10 years, like you don't have that confidence 10 years ago when you're not the world's largest EV maker. You don't have that confidence when you're SpaceX. You don't have that confidence when you've accomplished all these things. So as an outsider, watching that journey is actually quite fascinating to me. Because, you know, you think about 10 years ago when you just had, you know, when he had the one or two companies and now he's got a bunch of different companies having the impact on the world that he's having. Christina, I talked privately with you, like from a personal branding standpoint, he's like the Tony Stark of our world. You know, love that or hate that, but there's a reality there. But again, for me, it's about the journey. And I've enjoyed watching the journey of Elon. Again, it's not about a love or hate fest, just the journey. No different than Jacob. Do you imagine Jacob 9 years ago to where he is today? Or your journey or my journey? There's something
people
really
love
enjoyable
transformation.
Yes.
People love transformation.
Yes.
We want to do it ourselves. It's a constant, it's a constant effort for everyone. If you want to be your best version of yourself, which maybe not all people do, but if you want to be the best version of yourself, what is more inspiring than seeing somebody that's doing that too? What's more inspiring than seeing somebody who is like living this life that you dream of and seeing their reality behind the road that they've taken to get there? I mean, look at fucking Elon's hairline when he was at PayPal. It was a different reality. Things were like, if you see those before, if you want to have some fun, go online right now and search before after Elon Musk or before after Jeff Bezos or before after Mark Zuckerberg. There's some, so we are not getting into the biohacking shit. We're not getting into all that, but there's some shit going on. These dudes do not look the same. And I think that probably also increases their confidence around it. All of a sudden they're like, I'm a big dog. Fucking Mark Zuckerberg putting a rap out. Like, what? You have to have crazy confidence to be doing shit like that.
I love watching those transformations. You watch, you know, you got Bezos now all jacked up. You got Zuckerberg. And yes, deja vu. I am Mike Shinoda from Linkin Park. Hey, new Linkin Park album dropped this last week. Pretty good. From no to zero. Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, the lead singer.
The woman singing.
Wow, I very much enjoy that. Okay, listen. It's time to go. Yep, time to wrap it up. Talk to Elon. Listen, I'm going to just close you guys with this. Love him or hate him, the guy's having an effect on society. If there's one thing I've taken from Elon is just put your reps in, right? And I know that's so simple, but the guy gets up every single day and bangs it out, whether it's at SpaceX, whether it's at the Boring Company, whether it's with Tesla. He just puts the reps in. And, you know, there's something to be said for that. So I thank you for hanging out today. Thank you for hanging out for the entire week of just dissecting the morning routines of influential humans, celebrities, I guess we might want to call them. Tomorrow, we're not going to dive into resilience because we're not here tomorrow, but you will be here, nation. You'll be going to get your ass up in the bed in the morning. I think I'm going to start a morning show on the weekend because mornings we don't take off either. But listen, next week, we're going to explore. It was
only a matter of time.
Yeah. Next week, we're going to explore a week of what ifs. Could you imagine if we didn't have any bones?
I'm so jacked.
Could you imagine if we only drank Coca-Cola? And could you imagine if we never aged? My buddy, Steve Halford, has created one of the greatest YouTube channels on the planet called What If. If we're lucky, Steve's going to join us on Monday, maybe Tuesday, but Monday. We're going to talk about his channel. We're going to talk about what if. And we're going to learn about what if you didn't have any bones. And we're going to learn what if you only drank Coca-Cola. And we're going to learn about what if you never aged. Maybe we can get Brian. What's that guy's name? Brian, that biohacker out of California. Brian Johnson, I think his name is.
Oh, yeah. I don't remember his name, but yeah, that guy.
Yeah. So, Nation, I appreciate you joining us here today. Mike McQuillan. Who do we got here? Mike McQuillan. We got Mike Wolf. We got Deja Vu. We got Good Time. Everybody joining us this morning. You guys have a great week. You know where we're going to be. We're going to be here back 8 o'clock Eastern time on Monday to Friday, 8 o'clock. The only morning show to help you guys achieve those most audacious goals. We are all about accountability. The only system you need, get up, get started. Hang out with us in the morning, and you will achieve some big, audacious goals.
Out of bed. Let's do it.
No, that's not the right one. But this one, that one is.
It's
Flynn.
a better outro than yesterday. I'll tell you that much.
That was a good outro yesterday. Nation, go back to yesterday's show. Flynn sang you guys out.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Flynn, go take care of your cough. We'll talk to you a little later. Jimmy, thanks for your work, pal. See you guys.
There you go.